Hello and welcome to our game, which is called Survivor Next, which is made by me, Sebastian, Navid, and Dennis, and we are Group D. Survivor Next is a survival-based game which puts a player in a vast, large world where they can roam around freely and explore the world. Around the world, there are enemies that they have to avoid. The main sort of concept for the game is that the player gets dropped into the world and they have to survive. They have a hunger that they have to satisfy and the health they have to look out for. But also there are enemies around which they have to defend from. They can run around and explore the area. And I will now show the game. So this is our map. Currently it's a static map, so it's a fixed size. However, in the final build of the game, as in the after the prototype, we plan to make a procedurally generated world. So as the player runs around, the map will be created. But for the time being, it's a static world just to show what the game will look like. So when the player begins, they get dropped in the center of the map and they can roam around freely. As we can see around, we have enemies, which are enemy X, hence the name Survivor X, which they have to run away from. If they get close enough, they're able to deal damage, which I will demonstrate right now. And if you run away from them fast enough, they will stop following us. But other enemies will start to follow us as we run into their path. What we plan to do further with the game is we plan to add hunger and stamina into the game so the player cannot run forever. This is just to make it a little bit more challenging rather than just constantly be sprinting around. We also plan to add an inventory system which will allow crafting to take place, such as building weapons, taking the trees down, and in general just any sort of surviving aspects to the game will be added. And our enemies will become more vast rather than just simple NPCs. But currently this is how our world looks like. We aim to to show how the game will look like once we start making its final version of it. But essentially, this is how the game will feel and most likely feel like when you play it. It's supposed to be a free roam where you can run wherever you want in a 3D space rather than a 2D or 2.5D space. And also we are allowed to jump. So once the player has played enough and decide to exit out of the world, the enemies can kill him. So as I gathered a bunch here, will show what the death screen would look like. So the player has an option to return to the game and explore again, or just quit the game. But just to sum up what the prototype is meant to show, it's meant to show how the game will feel in the later stages of its development. It's meant to be a free roaming world in a 3D space. So the player can do absolutely anything they want in it. They can either go explore in different biomes, or they can just simply go fight enemies. The possibilities can be endless in this, depending on what your goal is in the game.